topic is Versa routing. So here we'll try to understand. So what are the capabilities of the Versa's Flex VNF when it comes to the routing? Okay. So on this topic, so what we try to do is, so we'll try to understand about the Versa's routing. What are the capabilities of Versa's routing? Then how are we going to play with the routing policies? Okay. So how do you go and play with the routing policies? I think most of these topics already, so we knew it. So we already worked on the multiple legacy networks. So this is almost all the topics are well known to you guys. Okay, so as we know that the types of routing, so we got the static route and we got the dynamic route. So when it comes to the static routes, these are manually configured routes. When it comes to the dynamic routes, so these are managed by the any of the dynamic routing protocol. Okay. So when it comes to the dynamic routing protocols, so we know that so it is part of IGP and then EGP, so the interior gateway protocol, which runs within the autonomous system. So the examples as such, we have OSPF and then to the EGP, the protocol which is running between the autonomous systems. We have the BGP as an example. Okay, right. So when it comes to the IGP OSPF, as we know that so OSPF is a link state advertisement protocol. Okay, so the routers so which are trying to participate in OSPF, they try to exchange the LSAs. So after exchanging the LSAs, so they are going to construct the LSDB. On top of LSDB, so we are going to run the SPF algorithm. So the output of the SPF algorithm is nothing but the best OSPF routes. Okay, so these are so the very basic things what we know about the OSPF. Okay, so all the routers who are speaking the OSPF, so they run on the multicast IP addresses. So based on that, they try to discover the neighbors and they start exchanging the LSAs. With the help of that LSAs, they are constructing the LSDB. So with the help of SPF algorithm, we are going to get the best OSPF routes. So this is a very well-known diagram to all of us. So when you talk about any OSPF domain, so if it is a part of a single area, so all the routers will be part of a single area. If it is a multi-area, so we are going to decide that so on which area we are going to place the interfaces. Okay. So typically, so in any of the OSPF domain, so we'll try to have the area 0, which is a backbone area. So the routers which are part of area 0 is a backbone routers. Okay, the routers so which are connecting multiple areas. So we call it as ABRs. Okay, so the router which is trying to introduce so other protocol route into OSPF domain, so we are calling it as ASBR routers. Okay, so with the help of these type of routers and so multiple types of LSAs, so within the OSPF domain, the flooding is going to happen and they start exchanging the LSAs, they construct the LSDB. Each and every router is going to run through the SPF algorithm. They are going to get the best routes. Okay. So when it comes to the BGP, so BGP is nothing but the path vector driven protocol. So the reason being, so it uses the ACE path in order to decide its best path. Okay. So when it comes to the BGP, so the protocol which runs between the autonomous system. So when it comes to the autonomous system, so it's nothing but just a range. So range of the routers where the admin can have a reach and he can make the changes on this routers. Okay. Right, so the ACE numbers, so we have the public ACE numbers and then we have the private ACE numbers. So the public ACE numbers, so which is assigned by the governing body, and so we are going to pay for using this public ACE number. So whereas private ACE numbers, so this is so within the organization, if you wanted to run the BGP protocols, so you can think about the private ACE numbers. Okay, so the ACE path, so which is not only used in order to select the best route, even it is trying to use so one of the vector to prevent the loops. So within the OSPF domains, sorry. So within the BGP domains, so the ACE path is so our ACE numbers are used. So in order to detect the loops and prevent the loops. Okay. Right. So coming to the BGP advertisements. So what is going to happen? So as we know that so eBGP can advertise to IBGP and IBGP can advertise to eBGP. Okay, so whereas IBGP to IBGP advertisements, so this is not restricted. So this is restricted as a part of BGP advertisements. Okay, so the eBGP learned routes will advertise to all the BGP peers. Okay, so the moment you try to receive any of the routes, so it is going to be updated to each and every BGP peer, either it is IBGP or either it is eBGP. So when it comes to the IBGP to IBGP, so there is no advertisements which is going to happen. So IBGP learned routes will not be advertised to the IBGP PIs. Okay, so due to that, so what is going to happen? So we are going to have the full mesh implementation. Okay, so within the BGP domain, what we try to do is, So we try to go with a full mesh implementation. So one of the eBGP router will try to establish the IBGP connection with all the internal routers. Okay. So this router, so here, so it is running eBGP and here it is running IBGP. So whatever it receives on eBGP will try to advertise over the IBGP. Okay. Right. So now, so the IBGP learned routes will never be advertised to other IBGP learn other routers. So this is not so happening. So this is the advertisement so behavior on BGP. Okay. Right. So in order to avoid this, so what we are trying to do, so we'll try to go with a full mesh implementation. We'll try to go and implement this full mesh. Okay. So this is one solution. So the full mesh, so implementing the full mesh is one solution. Or so we are going to have the route reflector. So within the BGP domain, what is going to happen? So there would be a route reflector server and client. Can you go on mute, please? Right. So when it comes to the route reflector, so the one device and route reflector concept. So one device will be acting as a client. So the other device would be acting as a server. So the clients so will always try to advertise the routes towards the RR, and from RR the routes are getting redistributed. So with the help of the RR, what we are trying to so do this. Okay, so we are trying to completely avoid the full mesh implementation of the BGP peerings. So within the BGP domain. Okay. So the route reflector, so is the route reflector server, so where it tries to receive the routes from one client and will try to advertise it to the other clients. Okay. So there's nothing new here. So all these routing protocols we already knew. So coming to the Versa routing, so what Versa is trying to offer, let's try to understand about it. So Versa supports these routing protocols. One is static route, the other one is BGP, the next one is OSPF, the other one is RIP. As of now, only these are the routing protocols which we have support on this Versa Flex VNFs. Okay. So if you wanted to configure manually, for example, internally, I wanted to run. So this is my branch. Okay, this is my LAN VR. So here there is a router R1. I wanted to run OSPF or I wanted to run RIP. I wanted to run BGP. So you can manually create it, or I want to create some static routes. I can create this static routes. But whereas when you look into the control plane, so like what we have discussed yesterday, okay, so we have a VXLAN, on top of that we have a ESP. Then, so on top of that ESP tunnels, what we are going to do is, so we are going to establish the MP-BGP connections. So this is inbuilt. Okay, so this is inbuilt. MP-BGP is the protocol which is already inbuilt, or automatically you are going to find the configuration on the branches. So when it comes to this configuration, so we are going to do it manually. Right. So when it comes to the the BGP, so here what is the support we have it on the Versa Flex VNF. So Versa Flex VNF supports IBGP or eBGP on both LAN side interfaces as well as on the WAN side interfaces. Okay. So this is, so if you wanted to manually create some BGP configuration at the LAN side interfaces or at the WAN side interfaces, you are good to do that. And Versa supports both IBGP and then eBGP. Okay. Right. So now what is going to happen for the SD-WAN sessions? So as we discussed, the SD-WAN sessions, so the control plane, so by default we have a MP-BGP configuration. So this MP-BGP configuration, so we'll always try to use the private AS numbers. Okay, we'll always try to use the private AS number 61512, sorry, 61535. Okay. Right, so all these private AS numbers, so the device is going to use it. So if and all, if you require to change this AS numbers range, so you are good to do that. By default, it is available. So if you wanted to change it, so you can change that AS numbers. That's what. AS numbers can be modified by the administrator for the SD-WAN domain. Okay. So of course, as we know that, so the AS numbers overlapping should not happen, so that so you are not going to impact the routing and then as well the reachability. Okay. Right. So when it comes to the BGP, so there's a routing protocol. Sorry. So there's a routing policy, so which is very important in any of the implementation. Right. How are we trying to redistribute the routes? How are we going to filter the incoming routes? Or if required, you wanted to modify some routing information, like LP value, you wanted to change it, or you wanted to change the community information. So you wanted to do that, then so we can think about the route modifications. Right, so we have these support, so the IBGP, EBGP, and then so the complete routing policy we can configure it on VersaFlex VNF. So with the help of that, you are going to redistribute the routes, so you are going to filter the routes, as well as, if required, even you can modify the routing information. Right. Right, so what all the things we discussed, so when we are talking about the control plane, so if I go to one of the Flex VNF, okay, so this is my Flex VNF. So if any of the Flex VNF, so you are trying to onboard it as a, okay, you're trying to onboard it as a SD-WAN device, you're going to get 3 different routing instances. One is transport VR, the other one is control VR, the next one is LAN VR. What is this transport VR? Transport VR always provides you the underlay connectivity. Control VR, which provides you the overlay tunnels, all the tunnel, so encapsulations and encryption, decryption, decapsulation, so will be handled by the control, so VR tunnels. When it comes to the LAN VR, so what is the LAN VR? So this is the LAN, so the VPN routes. Okay, LAN VPN routes. So this LAN VR is going to hold all the LAN connected routes, and this LAN connected routes so will be advertised as a VPN routes. So because the LAN VR is nothing but the instance type called VRF. So we are going to have the RT and then RD informations configured. Okay. So within the LAN VR, we have the VRF's configuration. So VRF type is VRF, where it has the RT and then RD information. So these are the types of routing instances. So what is the reason to go with the routing instances? So logically isolating the routing table or set of routing processors. Okay, so when it comes to the VR, so VR will just isolate the routing process. Okay, so what is going to happen? So here it will just construct the routing table. So within this VR, you'll just find the routes. Whereas the VRF, so not only finding the routing information, so what you are going to have is, so it has the RT and RD value configured. Whenever the routes are advertised or routes are received, so it is going to verify this information and place the routes in the respective LAN VR. Okay, and so when it comes to the forwarding table, so whenever the traffic is forwarded with help of the VPN route, what it does, not only just forwarding the traffic, even it adds the encapsulation called MPLS label. Okay, so it adds the MPLS label. So whenever you are trying to mention the VPN routes in the LAN VR, what is going to happen? So the traffic is going to be reached to the destination by encapsulating the MPLS labels. Okay. Right. So let's see about the BGP advertisements. What is going to happen? Right. So when it comes to any of the BGP routes, what is going to happen? So the BGP route contains the destination prefixes. Okay, so the destination prefixes, in order to reach each and every destination prefixes, what is the attributes associated to that prefixes? Okay, what is the attributes that are associated with this prefixes? Right, so these attributes will be used in order to verify whether the route can be an active route. So if the route can be active route, or if I have multiple prefixes which are denoting the same destination, how are we going to select the best route? So these attributes will be used. Okay, so these attributes will be used in order to decide the best route. Right, so again, it has the AS path information, origin information, MED information. Okay, so LP information. Okay, apart from that, it has the community tags, so extended community values, so which is in the form of the RT information, RD information as well. So if I'm trying to advertise the VPN routes, so even you are going to find the MPLS label as well. Within the box, so even we are going to find the MPLS labels. Right. So all these router advertisements will be happening with the help of the BGP update message. So with the help of BGP update messages, so the route prefixes are advertised. Now the receiving router will try to verify, so each and every prefix has got some attributes. Okay, out of multiple prefixes, which are unique, they directly consider it as active route. But what if the prefixes, like let's say prefix 10 and prefix 11, they are denoting the same prefix? So then the selection criteria is going to happen. So that is going to select the best route based upon this BGP attributes. Right. So how did we verify the BGP neighbors? I think yesterday we have verified this command. With the help of this show BGP neighbor, you are going to see that what are the BGP neighbors we have it on the devices. Okay. So and as well as you can add the command, multiple commands. You can add detail command. So you can add brief command. Okay. So that it tries to manipulate the output that is getting displayed. Okay. So it is trying to display on which routing instance, what is the neighbor IP address, what is its uptime, so what is the state of the BGP, so established or not. Okay, so then so the prefixes that are sent, so the prefixes that are received, so what is the local port number and then remote port number. So we are going to find all these informations. So this is just a brief output. So like already we discussed yesterday in detailed output, even it is going to display the NLRI information. What all the families so that are going to be supported between the branches. So that will be decided with help of the NLRIs. Right. So when I execute the detailed command, look at the BGP peering options. What is the neighbor IP address? So the port number, and then what is its ACE number? Okay, so what is the local IP address, local port number, and then local ACE number. So if I notice this, so as we are talking about the MPBGP is nothing but so one of the IBGP. Right. So due to that, so the ACE number is seen. So if I look at these NLRI families, which decides that we are running a MPBGP protocol here. Okay, so the multi-protocol. So INET Unicast, INET VPN, Versa private family, INET 6 VPN routes as well. All these informations will be, all these families are going to be updated with help of the BGP router advertisements. Right, so this is one of the very important point. Now, so you are trying to receive, for example, so when I take example of the branches to, let's assume this is my CP01, so this is my control VR. Okay, so this is my VC1. Okay, so this is my branch, another branch, let's say CP02. Okay, so it also has the same control VR. Now, to this control VR to VC, so we have MPBGP connection. Okay, so here as well, so with help of this VC, we have a MPBGP connections. Okay, what all the information that is getting exchanged with help of MPBGP? Okay, so the first and foremost thing, so the MPBGP is used in order to exchange the LAN routes. Okay, all the LAN routes will be advertised with help of this MPBGP protocol. So that's what the family INET VPN or INET 6 VPN. All the LAN routes will be advertised. So with help of this MPBGP protocol. Okay. So the other routes, what all the routes it is going to advertise? So the MPBGP, it tries to advertise the IPv4 routes. Okay, so because the family INET, so it tries to advertise the IPv4 routes as well. Okay, so these are like so common. So with help of family INET, with help of family INET VPN, so we are going to accept both the VPN routes and as well as the unicast v4 routes. When it comes to Versa, okay, so the Versa private family is the proprietary information that is getting exchanged. Okay, so like what we already discussed about it, the Versa private family, all the overlay information, okay, all the branches related information, so that is getting exchanged with help of this proprietary family Versa private. Okay. Now imagine, so this CP01 has updated everything to the VC1. Now what is the job of the VC? As VC is acting like a route reflector, so the job of the VC is to relay that information towards the CP02. Relay that information towards the CP02. Now, what is the job of the CP02? It tries to verify what all the advertisements I have received it. Now, where do I need to place this advertisement? Where are we going to place this advertisement? Okay, so this is an interesting part here. Now, these are your incoming routes. So this is a BGP process. So it tries to decide it. Okay, so if it is INET unicast routes, so we are going to place it in control VR. So if it is a Versa private family routes, so we are going to place it in the control VR. When it comes to the VPN v4 routes or VPN v6 routes, we are going to place it in the LAN VR. Okay. So with a single BGP, so the MPBGP, we are going to exchange so many information. So at the receiver end, based upon the protocol family, what it does, it places the routes in the respective routing instances. Either so it is going to be placed in control VR or it is going to be placed in the LAN VR. Okay. So if I go and verify the routing tables here, so this is very important. How many routing tables we have it on Versa appliances? Like what we discussed, there's a transport VR, so there is a control VR, so there is a LAN VR. Okay, so this is well and good. So when it comes to the routing instances, so we have the so each and every routing instance executing the command show route routing instance name. It tries to display the routes which are possible in this routing instances. Apart from this, so you have the multiple routing tables. Okay, so the first routing table is Versa private family, where you wanted to see all the Versa private advertisements that are received. So then, so it has the L3, so VPN unicast table. Okay, so before the routes are getting placed into the LAN VR, before the routes are getting placed into the LAN VR, the routes will get placed in this L3 VPN unicast table. Okay. So it is going to be getting placed in this table. Then it has one more table, okay, so which is nothing but the forwarding table. For every routing instance, so it is going to maintain the forwarding table as well. Okay, right. So this is to every routing instance, we are going to find the routing table. So apart from that, so there's the Versa private table as well, which is specific to all Versa private advertisements. So then L3 VPN unicast table, so which is nothing but the routes before getting placed into the LAN VR, so will be updated on this table. Then so the forwarding table, so which tells that the best routes. Okay. Right, so let's see about all these commands. How are we going to verify it? Okay, show route routing instance. So the Versa control VR. This is the name of the tenant and then control VR. Okay, so it is going to display that what is the protocol name. Okay, so what is its type. Okay, so then what is the prefixes? What is the next stop? So if it is so the BGP advertisements, what is its age? And what about the outgoing interface? What about the outgoing interface? Okay, so this information. So you go to any of the transport VRs or so control VRs or LAN VRs. So this output is going to be common. The command after executing show route routing instance, name of the routing instance. So it tries to provide you the protocol family, what is the destination, what is its next stop, and what is the interface associated to that.
So Hari, SD-WAN is a protocol?
This is it's not a protocol. So if you are mentioning it as a SD-WAN, what is going to happen? This route will be considered as a SD-WAN route. So what does that SD-WAN route decide? So it is going with a overlay communication. Okay, so I mean we are going to take up some case study, Prakash. Okay, how the communication is going to happen from branch to branch. Okay, so from branch to branch, how the communication is going to happen. So there is definitely a tunnel which is going to be established. So for example, PTVI interface. Okay, so if I look at these PTVI interfaces, okay, so the IP address PTVI interface is 10.0.64.1, one of the example. Okay, so again, so the same route I have received on the BGP as well. One route on SD-WAN, one route on the BGP as well. It tries to provide you that plus symbol which indicates that the active route. Plus symbol indicates that active route. Now, whenever the protocol is SD-WAN, what it does, the traffic has to go through the overlay communication. That's for sure. But which transport it has to use it? Either it has to use the MPLS or it has to use the internet. That is decided with the help of this SD-WAN table. Okay, so it tries to verify. Now, in order to reach this prefix 10.0.64.1, it is telling that it has the SD-WAN route. Okay, so there is a separate SD-WAN table which tells that what is the WAN circuit. Okay, what is the WAN IP addresses of the remote peer. Okay, it uses this WAN IP addresses in order to construct the underlay connectivity. Okay, so whenever you find this SD-WAN, in order to reach this next stop SD-WAN, what it does is it establishes the overlay communication. On the top of overlay, even it is to send the underlay connectivity, right? How it is going to select the underlay connectivity? By looking into this SD-WAN table. In the SD-WAN table, it is going to know that what one IP addresses will be used in order to establish the communication.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So after end of all these courses, Prakash, so we'll see the complete traffic flow from one branch to other branch, how exactly the communication is going to happen.
Hari,
Yes.
just a quick one. These LAN VRs, as they are part of the overlay, can I, in a same box of Versa, keep two LAN VRs in overlay and one LAN VR only on the underlay? Because I want to have certain underlay routes and I want to redistribute those routes into the overlay. Can I do that?
For example, this is my branch 1, okay, or this is my branch 2. Okay, so you don't want to establish the communication over the overlay, right?
I want, yes, I want some of the routes.
Some of the prefixes.
Captured. Yes, some of the prefixes, yes.
Some of the prefixes into overlay and
maybe not from a different branch. Maybe I'm looking out for a different kind of a service where I want this service to be extended to a underlay routes. Just imagine that I have a gateway, and from the gateway, that gateway is not part of SD-WAN overlay fabric, and I want to import the routes so that I can go out of that gateway. So I want to import those routes in my LAN.
LAN VR, basically the LAN VR is there, right? So this LAN VR is nothing but the VRF instance, Ankush.
Right. So by default, these VRF instances are just the VRF instances, or they have to be part of the overlay?
Yeah. So when the exception is until unless you go with the DIA. Okay. So that's absolutely fine. On this VRF instance, you can have the both SD-WAN routes as well as non-SD-WAN routes.
Non-SD-WAN routes. Okay.
There is no problem. You can do that. Until unless you provide the reachability. For example, non-SD-WAN route. So now what I can do is, in order to reach this branch 2, I'll just advertise a default route. Okay, let the default route be over the internet.
Correct.
Internet? Yes. That's absolutely possible.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Hari, I have one more doubt. So in control VR, in LAN VR, there is how that route is exchanging, because the MPBGP routes we are getting from that control VR, but the LAN VR is a different one. So how the route exchange between control VR to LAN VR?
Right. So there is no route exchange that is going to happen between the control VR and then LAN VR. Routing exchange that is going to happen. Okay, what will happen here? There is always a relation between the LAN VR and then control VR. Okay, so now I have received one of the route. Assume that this is a destination of branch 2. The next stop is nothing but the PTWay interface. Okay, the next stop is nothing but the PTWay interface. Here, whenever within the LAN VR, you are going to find it as an indirect. So whenever within the LAN VR, you are going to find it as an indirect. What it does is, it tries to get this next stop resolution from the control VR. Okay. So in fact, so if you look at the internally, there will not be any routing exchange that is going to happen from the control VR to LAN VR. There is only the relation. Wherever the LAN VR, the routes are pointing towards indirect, what it does is, it tries to get to resolve this next stop with help of this control VR.
That's fine, Hari. So what is my question is, some relation between control VR to LAN VR now. So without relation, how the route is, MPBGP route is, that is VPN-v4 routes, and LAN is having that IPv4 routes. So how the conversion is happening?
No. LAN is not having the IPv4 route, right? What does LAN contains? See, the BGP is getting terminated on control VR. What all the families you have it? INET VPN. Okay, if it is just a unicast route, what it does, it places the route in the control VR. If it is a INET VPN route, where it is going to place it? In the LAN VR. That is what this slide explains, right? What does this slide? So if you look at here, if it is a VPN route, then only the route is getting placed into this LAN VR. If it is not a VPN route, so you are never going to place it in LAN VR, right? That's not possible.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
Hari, are we doing any redistribution at the LAN side? Because my current infrastructure is a legacy, traditional, and I'm connecting with my this one SD-WAN solution.
Yes, yes. There are some default redistribution policies, Prakash. Okay, so there are some redistribution policies which is enabled by default. We'll talk about that. But when it comes to the redistribution policies, everything is given control to the admin. If you wanted to go and play with anything, you have a routing policies.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
We have a slide for that. No?
The default router definition.
Yeah, Hari, and one more doubt.
Yes.
So you are saying that LAN VR is the VPN v4, but when I'm connecting that one of my PC, so that route is received as a unicast only. Now it's not on a VPN v4. How the conversion is happening?
What was your question? Yes.
See, consider in my LAN VR, I have one port. I connected my PC.
Okay.
Okay, in my PC, so I'm assigned some IP, LAN IP.
Yes.
So I'm trying to reach one more branch.
Okay.
Okay, so from my PC, that traffic is coming via unicast. That is IPv4 packet. That's correct.
From here comes to the unicast route. What is happening?
That is unicast.
Yeah. What is happening?
IPv4 packet.
Yeah. From the end system, it is always a unicast packet. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Once reaching my SD-WAN LAN interface, how the conversion is happening? Because you said in LAN VR, it's VPN v4 routes.
See, so this is the other way you are asking. So if you look at here, okay, so this is my LAN network. Okay, so this is VNI 0/0, assume it. So one side we have MPLS, one side we have internet. This is MPLS, this is internet. Okay, so this is my VC. Okay, right. So now what the branch will try to advertise it. This is a branch, so 10.1.2.0/24. From the branch perspective, this is a connected network. But what branch will try to advertise related to this network? Will it advertise it as just a V4 route or VPN v4 route?
That's fine, Ari. My question is, that's fine. Within the SD-WAN, that is fine. We are going to extend it VPN v4 routes. My question is, when my LAN interface in SD-WAN box, I'm receiving as a IPv4 packet from my PC.
Yes.
How it is converted as a VPN v4?
No, that is what your VRF instance is going to do. What is the significance of VRF? What is the significance of VXLAN? What is the significance of ESP tunnel? Now you are receiving just a plain traffic towards this branch. What does branch is going to do? Branch will verify LAN VR. What is my next stop? Okay, next stop is pointing towards the ESP tunnel. Okay, so what did we talk about the encapsulation? This is your original packet. So this is your original IP header. This is your original data. To this, what all the things that is getting added? It tries to add the MPLS label, which is advertised by this branch. Because it's a VPN route, it advertises with some MPLS label. It adds the MPLS label here. Then it adds the VXLAN header here. Then it adds the outer header, right?
It was create one default route 169 range. That is
No, that's totally different.
That is different.
Yeah, that's totally different. See, from here to here.
Yeah, Ari, that's fine, Ari. That's fine, Ari. My question is, say, consider traditional MPLS network, okay? So once my VPN v4 packet is received my PE, so it will automatically convert it as a unicast packet. So how this mechanism in SD-WAN, how it is happening? This is what my question.
So, for example, this is my branch. Okay. So now, so you know about these encapsulations, right? Okay, what all the encapsulations it is going to add? From the end system to this server, this is my MPLS, this is my internet. So this is my MPLS, this is my internet. Okay, so here, what is going to happen? This is my branch. Okay, so this is my MPLS, so this is my internet. Okay, right. So where is the tunnels that is getting created? From here to here, we have a tunnels. Whatever the traffic that has to get exchanged between this branch 012, branch 02, will it go with a tunnel? Will you accept that?
Yes.
So when it is going with the tunnel, does it add the encapsulation? Of course, it is
Yes,
going.
it will add.
Now the traffic has come from the LAN, so end system. Okay, the traffic is reaching to this server. The traffic has hit the LAN via. Under this LAN via, what is the next stop? In order to reach this server, what is going to be the next stop? Will it be the ESP tunnel?
Yeah, that is the TTY
ESP
next
tunnel.
stop IP. Yes.
Whenever the traffic is going through the ESP tunnel, what it has to do? Okay, so it has to convert. This is your original packet. This is your original packet. To this original packet, what it has to do is, as the next stop is pointing towards the tunnel, and as well as it has the VPN label associated to it. What is the reason for it? Why VPN label is associated? Because this branch 02 has advertised it as a VPN route. So every VPN route, there is a VPN label, right? It adds this VPN label. It is adding a VPN label for it. Okay. Then it is deciding ESP to ESP in the sense, so whatever the traffic inside the ESP header is encrypted. Then what is the tunnel source address and tunnel destination address of the ESP, which is nothing but the VXLAN. It adds the VXLAN source IP and then destination IP address. Up to this level, it has converted the normal packet into overlay packet. How the traffic is going to be forwarded via the underlay? It is going to have the underlay. Okay, the traffic is going by MPLS, so it is reaching on this device. So it will decaps the outer head. Then it verifies what is the VXLAN. Know that like this is a part of a control VR and it tunnel. So the packets gets decapsulated here. So because of the CSP header, what is going to happen? The packet getting decrypted. So decrypting the traffic, the packet will go to this server. While it is going to the server, it will be just as the original packet. It will be forwarded.
Okay, so yeah, this is what my question. Okay, that's fine, Hari. Because so where that encapsulation happening, that is my confusion happened. So now it is clear, Hari.
Okay, here, so we are talking about this routing instance. So the control VR. Okay, under the control VR, so you will be finding all the overlay information related parameters. And if you wanted to be more specific about a Versa private family, so with help of Versa private family, we are going to learn about the all overlay IP addresses. Okay, the command to see the Versa private table. Okay, show route table, Versa private, routing instance, name of the routing instance. Okay, so here the Versa private family routes, so where will be placed under the control VR. So we are going to see that the prefixes, all these overlay IP addresses are received with help of Versa private family. So if you remember branch 1 to branch 2, this is my VC1, all the proprietary information related to this branch 1. Okay, so with help of MPBGP and with help of Versa private family, they are going to exchange it. What all the information does Versa private family contains? It contains the overlay IP addresses, the underlay IP addresses of the branch, which is nothing but the WAN IP addresses. Then, so what is its NAT status? What is the QoS options enabled on the branch 1? Then it even contains, so the encryption key, which is going to be used for the VPN, Okay. All this information will be exchanged, so with help of the Versa private family. Now VC1 has received from the branch 1. So then VC1 will be updating that information towards the branch. Right. So if you wanted to just go ahead and see the Versa private advertisements, you may not find the complete information related to the NAT, related to the QoS. So you'll just find the overlay IP addresses which are getting exchanged with help of the Versa private. Right. So coming to the land routes, okay, so as we are talking about that, so before the routes are getting placed into the land VR, so the routes will be placed as a part of L3 VPN, so unicast tables. If it is IPv4, L3 VPN IPv4 unicast table. If it is IPv6, L3 VPN IPv6.unicast tables. Okay, so whenever the BGP routes are advertised, so all the family INET VPN routes will be placed in L3 VPN unicast table. So then matching with the RT information, so the routes will get placed into the respective LAN VR. Okay. So matching with the RT information, so whatever the VRF target we have it, so based upon that, so the routes will get placed in the respective LAN VR. Okay, so here is one example. Show route table L3 VPN IPv4 unicast. Okay, so the routing instance Versa control VR. So if you want to be more specific, route receive protocol BGP. So then it tries to provide you that what all the advertisements that are received on this table related to the BGP protocol. So if you take one of the example here, so the LAN prefixes are getting advertised. So with help of this, so the INET VPN route. Okay, one of the prefix 192.168.1.0. So from which peer we have received that route. Okay, what is the protocol next stop for this route? Then what is its a VPN label? Then what is its RD value? What is its RP value? Extended community information, RD information. Then the BGP parameters, like what is LP, what is its ACE number or ACE path, what is its origin, what is the MED value. So if it is part of some community, the route is getting advertised with help of some specific community, it even has that community information. Okay. So are we changing any preference of the routes? So it goes with the default, so the AD values. So if you want to change the preference of the routes, you are good to do that. Okay. So this is one of the LAN related advertisements, which is advertised as a part of so the V4 VPN route. What is the destination prefix? Okay, what is the peer IP address? So what is the next stop information? What is RD information, RT information? What is its VPN label? And the BGP attributes. Right, so after the routes are received, the routes will be placed in the L3 VPN. Based upon this RT information, the routes will get placed in the respective LAN VR. The routes are going to be placed in the respective LAN VR. For example, if I have the multiple LAN VRs like LAN 1, LAN 2 VR, okay, LAN 3 VR, the routes are received on this L3 VPN IPv4 unicast. If it is matching with this RT information, it places in LAN 1. If it is matching with LAN 2 RT information, it gets placed in the LAN 2. Right. So this is what we have discussed yesterday. So the routing instances parts are single tenant, multi-tenant. Okay, so the single tenant branch. So we are going to have the control VR and then LAN VR. Multi-tenancy, multiple control VRs, and to each and every control VR, at least one LAN VR that is going to be allocated. Okay, so the routing instances. So when it comes to here, LAN VRF, whatever the LAN VRFs we have it, is owned by the corresponding tenant control VR. Okay. So there is always a relation between the LAN VR and then control VR. Okay. Right. So when it comes to the transport VRs are never binded with any of the tenants. The transport VRs will always provide the underlay connectivity. The transport VRs will always provide the underlay connectivity. Okay. So whereas the control VRs will try to provide you the overlay connectivity. Right. So if I look at one of the example here, okay, what is the routing information? Okay. So here, so this is my branch 1, this is my branch 2. So now what is going to happen? So the branch 1 to branch 2, the control VR will establish the tunnels. The control VR will try to establish the tunnels. Now after the tunnels are up and working fine, the LAN VRs will try to use the tunnels in order to forward the traffic. Okay, the LAN VRs will try to use the tunnels in order to forward the traffic. Okay. Right. So when it comes to the traffic flow here, the traffic is destined to one of the IP address on branch 2. The traffic is received by this LAN VRF. The next stop in order to reach the destination is pointing towards the overlay tunnel. Okay, so it will verify the next stop on this LAN VR. So if the overlay tunnel is a clear text tunnel, it will just encapsulate the traffic with MPLS label and forwards the traffic. So if the next stop is ESP tunnel, not only encapsulating with MPLS label, even the data gets encrypted. On top of that, encapsulation is going to. Right. So now, so once the encapsulated packet receives on Versa, how does it select the outgoing interface? Which transport it has to use it? There comes your SD-WAN policies. SD-WAN policies will be used in order to select which WAN transport it has to use it. Whether it has to use MPLS or it has to use internet. That is decided with help of this SD-WAN policies. Okay. Right. At the receiver side, what will happen at the receiver side? It's a reverse way. The traffic is received on this transport VR. The traffic gets decapsulated with outer header. It will verify what is the next stop information. So it is pointing towards either VXLAN or ESP tunnel. So based on that, the packets are getting decapsulated and decrypted if needed. Then it will go on sit in this LAN VR. So in this LAN VR, what is the MPLS label associated with this outgoing interface? That information will be used in order to select the outgoing interface information. Right, so here, so if I take an example that interfaces which are going to be used, show interface is brief, like already we discussed. All these VNIs are nothing but the physical interfaces. The TVAs are nothing but the loopback interfaces. Each 0 out of band management port, and then these are nothing but the tunnel interfaces. PTY interfaces are the tunnel interfaces. Okay, so now when I go on verify,
TVI is a loopback, right?
Yeah, TVA is a loopback. PTY is nothing but the tunnel interfaces.
Okay.
Right. So what is going to happen? So these interfaces, okay, all these interfaces will be placed into some or the other routing instances. So if I take an example of VNI 0/0, which is placed in INET transport VR, VNI 0/1, which is placed in MPLS transport VR, VNI 0/2, which is placed in Versa LAN VR. All these loopback interfaces and the tunnel interfaces will be part of your control VR. And by default, there is one routing instance, and the name of the routing instance is global. So by default, all the interfaces will belong to the global routing instance. Until and unless we take out the interfaces and we placed in the different routing instances, so it will be always part of the global routing instance. Right. So coming to this part. So you wanted to see the next stops, how the next stops are decided. Okay, so for example, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to see that show route routing instance. So Versa control VR, I'm trying to verify for one of the destination. So which is pointing towards 10.096.102. It is telling that it has an indirect route. Wherever it finds it as an indirect interface indicates that a pointer towards a internal logical interface, which is nothing but the dynamic tunnel interfaces. Wherever you find the next stop and then outgoing interfaces as an indirect, what does it specifies? Dynamic tunnel. So it's okay, so 10.096.102 is the next stop. What is the interface that is leading in order to reach this next stop? PTY 0. indirect will always point towards the logical tunnel interface, which is nothing but the dynamic tunnel. Okay, so if you examine it carefully on the LAN VR, so this will be the interesting part to understand how the overlay is decided. Okay, so I'm going to the show routing instance Versa LAN VR. I'm verifying at the LAN VR. I've received the connected route, which is nothing but directly connected interface. Local, which is nothing but the directly configured interface. You could see that /24 connected /32 interface IP address. And we received one of the BGP route with help of the Versa controller. So where it is trying to point towards to 192.168.2.0/24. The next stop is 96.102. And here the outgoing interface is pointing towards like an indirect. Okay, what does indirect will refer? Indirect will refer one of the dynamic tunnel. Now, how do you know that which dynamic tunnel will it use? Show forwarding table Versa LAN VR. If I execute it, it is going to provide you that. In order to reach this destination, what is the next stop? What is the outgoing interface? And as well as the LAN VRF, this route is nothing but the VPN route. Even it has the VPN label for it. Okay. So whenever the traffic is going towards this destination, it goes with this tunnel interface PTY 0/32, and it includes one of the MPLS label. Okay. So make use of this command to understand which is the next stop that is directly pointing towards in order to reach this next stop, and as well as what is the VPN label that is going to be used on the path. So coming to the static routes configuration. So this is all about your the different types of routing tables. How are we trying to use all these routing tables? Okay, so when it comes to the configuration part, how do you create the static routes? How do you create the OSPF? So you can create as a part of workflow template or as a part of device template. Okay, so either I can directly go to the workflow template. So in the workflow template routing, under the static routes, you can create the static routes for the routing instances LAN VR. What is the prefixes and what is the next stop information? So you can create this static routes configuration on the workflow template. Or if you wanted to be more granular, so I can go to a template and I can configure the static routes. Okay. So when it comes to the OSPF support, so again you can go to the workflow template or you can go to the device template, and so you are good to configure the OSPF configuration. Okay, under the workflow template, you are going to have the very basic configuration. So going to the routing, you will have the OSPF version 2 or version 3. Then on which interface we are going to run the OSPF, and what is the area ID. So we are going to provide the very basic information if I try to configure it on workflow template. Whereas if I go to template and configure the OSPF, so we are going to do the each and every configuration related to OSPF. So we'll be talking about that. How are we going to configure static routes, OSPF routes, different types of options, what we have it in the templates. So in the upcoming slides, we'll be talking about that. Okay. Right. So coming to the the multiple LAN interfaces. So if I wanted to go ahead and if I wanted to run the multiple LAN interfaces at the LAN VR, so you can add the multiple physical LAN interfaces or logical units into the same routing instances. So that's allowed. Yesterday we were talking about that, right? Within the LAN VR, you can have a single interface or multiple physical interfaces or multiple sub interfaces as well. Okay. So when I'm trying to create the multiple interfaces, so definitely we have to provide the name to it. Okay, so name of the interfaces. While configuring the OSPF in the workflow template, you are going to configure OSPF with the name of the network. Whatever the name you try to mention here, for example, VNI 0/2.10, we mention it as a LAN. VNI 0/2.20, we mention it as a LAN. So while configuring the OSPF, so it is going to display either it is a LAN or LAN. So let's go ahead and let's try to understand about the routing policies, which is
it is in the same template that earlier we have created, or we have to create a separate template?
Within the same template.
Same template.
Yeah,
it's the same.
Routing. So within the same